Hi, fourth grade. I read chapter 19 live with our class Zoom on Thursday, so today. But I realized it wasn't quite working when I uploaded the video, so I'm going to read chapter 19 one more time without the class listening, but hopefully you are. Chapter 19. The adrenaline wore off quickly. Help was on the way, but the little kids were wet, freezing, cold, and scared. And that's all they could think about. It had started to rain again, not as heavily as before, but enough to remind them that they had been soaked and chilly for hours. As they sat and waited, the reality of what they had just been through settled in. One by one, the Boy Scouts started to shiver and cry. Corey was in the worst shape. "Is my dad still going to be okay?" he asked Ben, his face a mask of worry, his eyes filled with giant tears. "He's fine, Bud. He's fine. And my dad is a cop. He'll be here any minute with a bunch of officers, and they're going to get your dad right away, okay?" Corey nodded through his tears. He swallowed hard. "When are they coming?" asked Jonah, whose dark, wet hair was stuck to his face. "I'm freezing and hungry." "They'll be here really soon," Ben said. "Just a few minutes. Can you hang on for a few more minutes?" He tried not to sound as desperate as he felt. They'd already divided up all the food Marco had given them and everything they'd brought with them. Granola bars and trail mix didn't go that far for 10 people. He really hoped his dad and his team would get there fast. "What's all this crying?" Noah suddenly said, hopping up from the ground. He made an exaggerated, horrified expression. "How can you all sit there feeling sorry for yourselves when there's a baseball game to be played?" What was Noah talking about? Ben wondered. Baseball? Here? On the top of a giant hill? With what? Noah thrust his hands in the air and waved them around. He held a baseball in one hand and wore a mitt on the other. The rain fell on his outstretched arms. Ben and Jack burst out laughing. "Have you had your mitt and ball with you all this time?" Ben asked Noah. Noah just shrugged. "You never know when you might need them." He looked over at the little kids. "Like now, right, guys?" The Boy Scouts looked at him like he was crazy. They sniffled and wiped their noses on their arms. But Noah wasn't taking no for an answer. "You four," he said, waving his mitt at Corey, Emmett, Nicholas, and Jonah. "You guys are on my team. Up and at 'em." Reluctantly, the kids got up and clustered around Noah. "And there, you three," Noah said to the remaining boys on the ground. "You're with those two yokels," he gestured at Ben and Jack. "Sorry, kids, but they're all we've got." "Hey," Jack laughed. He looked at his three new, tiny teammates. "Are we going to let them talk about us that way, or are we going to show them how the game is played?" The boys giggled. "We're going to smoke 'em," Isaiah said in a squeaky little voice. "That's what we're going to do." "What?" Noah laughed. He looked at his team. "Let's do this, huh, guys?" "Yeah," the kids responded. The two teams quickly fell into position. Noah put his backpack down as home plate. Ben and Jack used theirs, and Ben's baseball cap as the bases. "Corey, you're up," Noah called out. Corey picked up the long tree branch they were using as a bat and raised it above his head. The branch bobbed behind him, and he crouched into a perfect hitter's stance. Ben nodded, impressed. "You ready?" Ben asked. Corey nodded. Ben pulled his knee up and his arm back and lobbed a pitch toward Corey. Thwack! Corey connected and nailed the ball so hard it flew over Ben's head. The little guys in the outfield scrambled toward it, bumping into each other and bursting out laughing. Jack and Hero ran after the ball, racing each other. Hero got to it first, just before it rolled downhill at the edge of the clearing. Jack wrestled the ball playfully from Hero's mouth. Scout ran over and tried to snatch it back, chasing Jack around the outfield. Jack laughed loud and long. "Hey, you two," Ben called out. "He's gonna score! Throw the ball!" Sure enough, Corey stepped on Ben's backpack, then Jack's, then rounded Ben's hat toward home. "Get him!" Ben cried. Jack lobbed the ball, and Ben realized they had no catcher. He dashed in from the pitcher's mound, but didn't make it in time. Corey put his foot down on Noah's backpack just as the ball smacked into the ground. Ben was still a few feet away. "Home run!" Noah cheered, picking Corey up in a bear hug. Corey raised his arms in the air in triumph while Noah spun him around, and his teammates cheered. Corey looked like a kid without a care in the world. His face lit up with joy, and he grinned from ear to ear. For one beautiful, unforgettable moment, the Boy Scouts didn't look cold or wet. They didn't seem to care that it was raining at all, or that they just barely survived a hurricane. They didn't look scared or exhausted. They just looked like kids playing a pickup game of baseball. And up in the air, his damp hair flying out around him, Corey looked to Ben like any happy kid who just hit a home run. Okay, another happy chapter. We have chapter 20, 21, and 22. So there's 3 chapters left. And I'm starting to think if every chapter is happy, this is going to be the happiest ending of a crazy story. So I'm wondering if something unique is going to happen. All right, guys, stay tuned for chapter 20 and a new location, hopefully. Okay.